Hi everyone, this is Shannon from shannoncassane.com, and today I'm going to be making 4 quick cards with you, all featuring beautiful DSP from the Share What You Love DSP specialty pack. The stamps I'm going to use today are from the Love What You Do stamp set. I'm going to use this sentiment here: I'm lucky to have a friend like you. This stamp set's got a lot of great flowers and watercolour washes and that kind of thing, so it's a really great all-round set. The second stamp that I'm going to be using is this little flower motif. This stamp set is predominantly for text, writing text, your own sentiments, anything like that. You've got an uppercase alphabet, a lowercase alphabet. You've also got some specialty double characters for where you want to stamp like a double L or a double E. You want them to flow on together nicely, so the stamp set does that for you. Then you've also got this just straight alphabet plus the numbers, some scripty numbers, and then down the bottom here you've also got your little sentiments that you can use for personalizing your card. So you can write handcrafted just for you, or this belongs to, or handmade by, and then stamp your name with the rest of it. So it's a really versatile set if you're making your own cards and I guess want to watermark them or put something on the back to say it's from you, or for just using it for any sentiments that you want that you don't otherwise have a stamp for. Okay, so I've got everything cut and ready to go. So when I say 4 cards in 15 minutes, I really mean put the cards together in 15 minutes. The cutting and scoring takes a little bit longer, but it's all reasonably straightforward. So what you are going to need is 4 card bases, and the card bases are just the standard card bases, half an A4 sheet folded in half. The colours that I'm using is Mint Macaron, which is a new colour for 2018-2019, but it has been in the Stampin' Up colour family, one of the in colours from a few years ago. I'm also using Rich Razzleberry, Old Olive, and a brand new colour called Grapefruit Grove. Okay, in addition to that, you're going to need 4 pieces of basic black for a mat, and they measure 10 centimetres by 14.3 centimetres. You're going to need 4 pieces of DSP. Now, as I said, I've used the Share What You Love DSP, but you could use whatever you like. You can see in some of these pieces, don't know if it'll show up very well, but it's got pearl accenting in it, and it is really beautiful. So the DSP measures 9.5 centimetres by 13.8 centimetres. I've got 4 of these new pearl doilies, which are really very pretty. With these doilies, they're actually just plain white on the back. So you could use your Stampin' Blends and colour these to be whatever colour you wanted, or you could just use the pearl side. I've also got 4 stitch circles. This is the second largest in the stitch shape set, and these pieces are just white mats for the inside for when you write your card. So they're the same size as the black, 10 centimetres by 14.3 centimetres. Finally, I've just got some scraps of DSP from the same range that I'm going to use to just decorate at the end. So let's get started. I'm going to do all my stamping first. I've got the stamps mounted and ready to go. I will bring in my mat because they are photopolymer stamps. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm also going to use an aqua painter just to bring in a bit of colour on the actual flower. I hope you can see all that okay. Okay, there we go. Right, so the first one I'm going to do is Old Olive. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment towards the top and then put the floral motif down the bottom. Hopefully my head does not jump in the way here. I have cut a couple of extra stitch shapes just in case. But no, that's pretty good. Now also what you can't see is off to the side here I have got my stamp and scrub so that I can clean the stamps. So if you're wondering where I've gone, that is where. So I can clean the stamps and keep going. So I'm also going to do the flower in the same old olive, and depending what it looks like, I might actually colour in the actual flower part. So I think I'll put that. Yeah, I think I'll put it like this. Okay, and then what I'm going to do with the aqua painter, I'll just make sure it's not too wet, and just bring in a little bit of that colour, just for the flower bit. I'm going to leave the leaves as is. Lift that up. So you can see it just brings in just a little bit of colour. I am only using Whisper White card base here, so it's not watercolour paper or shimmery white paper. It's just regular Whisper White, so you don't want to add too much water. Okay, mint macaron is next. Perfect, that's good. Okay, and the little flower. And again with the aqua painter, just add the tiniest bit of colour. Right, done. Next up, now I don't actually have a rich raspberry ink pad, so instead I'm going to use the Fresh Fig. They're quite close in colour. They're not exactly the same, but I found that it worked okay. We made do. So there we go. It's actually, the Fresh Fig is a little bit darker than the rich raspberry, but I find it kind of is in the right family. So it doesn't, I don't think it looks too bad. Okay, and then the last one is a brand new colour, a brand new ink pad as well, and it's called Grapefruit Grove. So I have yet to stamp this stamp pad, so we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be beautiful. I think it's actually going to be one of my favourite colours. Wow, look at that. That's a really pretty colour. And finally, I'll put the flowers on this one. Okay. Right, there we go. So we're done with the stamping. That's actually all the stamping there is for this card. So we will get into constructing the cards. So I'll bring the bases back in. We've got the doilies there, we've got the paper. Let's start by putting the black bases onto each of the cards. How are we going for time? Are we going to make the 15 minutes? Or am I chatting too much? So, try and get it lined up nice and square. I do like to use the Tombow for this, particularly when I'm videoing, because it gives me a chance to get it right. If I'm not videoing, I quite often use the fast views for this, because I can get right above it and see what's going on. Okay, so the rich raspberry base. I really love rich raspberry. I'm not sure why I don't yet own the ink pad, but it'll have to go on my next order, I think, because a lot of this beautiful DSP has got rich raspberry in it, and it's really beautiful. It's a lovely colour. Right, so now the DSP I decided for each of the cards. I think I was going to do this. Right, so I'm going to stick the DSP on. There we go. You can see on some of these papers, particularly this one and this one, the flowers are actually big enough that you could cut them out and use them for embellishments on a project. They're big enough and not fussy enough that they're very easy to cut out. And look at this side of paper. I mean, this paper stack is just beautiful, and it comes with 24 pieces in a pack, so it's double the size of our normal packs, which means you can make double the amount with it, which is pretty cool. Okay, so the last front is going on. There we go. Oops, that wasn't very clever, was it? Let's go that way. Thank goodness for Tombow, right? Huh, that's better. Right, I might actually just pop the insides into the cards now as well, because I'm undecided whether to use dimensionals or something on the front. So I just use, depends what card base I've used. If I'm just using a coloured card base, I will use Whisper White on the inside. I find it gives it a bit of extra layer of thickness. If I've used a piece of thick cardstock on the outside, so thick vanilla or thick Whisper White, I generally won't even put something on the inside, because you can write quite easily on the Whisper White and the vanilla. If I've used a really light coloured card base, I sometimes don't put anything on the inside either. But putting something in the inside gives you a nice place to write, but it also gives you a spot that you could stamp an extra little motif, or you could stamp a sentiment on the inside as well. There's some really pretty kind of verse-like sentiments that you could put on the inside of your cards. Right, there we go. So the plan for these cards is to, I'm thinking something like this. I'm just letting the DSP do all the talking here. And I was thinking something like that. So give it a little bit of extra colour in a contrasting kind of colour. And that's my thoughts. But I might just grab my paper snips and banner, just a small banner, the ends of these bits, just to give it a little bit of extra interest there, so it's not just coming to a grinding halt. Probably should have done this, whoops, prior to videoing. I think I'm actually cutting two pieces at once here. No? Okay, so that's those pieces. So, right, I'm thinking something like that. What do you think? Yep, let's lock that in. Put that there. I'm going to use snail on the back of these. You're not going to see most of it anyway. It'll make my desk a little sticky, but right. And I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals, I think. Some people go crazy with the amount of dimensionals they use. I am not so crazy, except if I'm sending it somewhere and I really want it to stay put. And there we go. How's that? I mean, that's really pretty and it's so simple. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the rest of them together. I might use slightly different papers. See how we go. You can get punches that automatically banner the ends of your paper. I don't own one. So, well, I own a little one, but it wouldn't do the bigger pieces. So, they're all going to be slightly different placement, I think. We'll see. But basically the same. So same basics, same layouts, same kind of sentiments, different colours. Look at that doilies. Still got a little piece in there. Go, and I'll pop that up on dimensionals. Now if I had my son here, he would be madly helping me do the dimensionals. He loves doing dimensionals. He likes to be in charge of taking the backings off them. So that's that one. Now this one. Yeah, I think Grapefruit Grove is going to be a favourite colour of mine. I really like it. Look how well these colours do together as well. They're just beautiful. I should just note that it probably works. It's probably a little bit cleaner for your work surface if you were to do what I'm doing with the snail on a silicone sheet. But I didn't plan to video this today, so I didn't have it out. There's that one. And the very last one. Cold olive is just a really beautiful green colour. It's earthy at the same time as being, you know, if you team it with the right colours, it looks quite bright, but it is a very natural green. Right, that's the last one. Last little banner going on. I think I'll do that one in the middle. Pop it on. Let's straighten that up a bit. Right, doily. I can see myself using these doilies on lots of things. They had some fabulous ones at Christmas time, gold and silver. And the same thing, you could colour the backs of them, as the backs were just white. And I've used them on so many things since. I mean, they did make a beautiful accent on Christmas projects, having the gold and silver in them. But they look really beautiful coloured as well. Okay, so that's our 4 cards in 15 minutes, and I think I did it in close to 15 minutes. That's what they look like. I think they're beautiful. I think the paper just speaks for itself. So yeah, give it a go. Cut up your DSP. Have a go at making these very simple cards. Thanks for watching.